We move from the Middle East to the United States, where the Senate is posed for a crucial vote today on President Donald Trump's massive tax and spending package. Dubbed the One Big Beautiful Bill, a sweeping 940-page proposal that promises tax cuts, military expansion and billions in rural aid, while sparking intense debate on its staggering price tag. Republicans say the bill delivers on Trump's second-term agenda, extending the 2017 tax cuts, eliminating taxes on tips and overtime, and pouring billions into border security and the military. It also includes $25 billion for rural hospitals and raises the SALT deduction cap to ease pressure on high-tax states like New York and California. Here's what Senate Majority Leader John Thune had to say about the bill.
President, we have before us today a once-in-a-generation opportunity to deliver legislation to create a safer, stronger, and more prosperous America. With one bill, we can deliver on a number of priorities: tax relief for hardworking Americans, economic growth, a stronger national defense, a more secure border, a more reliable energy supply. But Republicans are united in our commitment to what we're doing in this bill: securing our border, strengthening our national defense, growing our economy, unleashing American energy, cutting waste, fraud, and abuse, and preventing tax hikes on hardworking Americans. Mr. President, it's time to get this legislation across the finish line.
But critics, including many Democrats and even some Republicans, say the numbers just don't add up. Let's listen in to the Democratic leader, Chuck Schumer, voicing his concerns.
If Republicans proceed and follow Donald Trump over the cliff, with this bill tied to their ankles like an anvil, they will not only doom their own communities, they will doom their political fortunes, their own political fortunes, and have no one to blame but themselves. I yield the floor.
Non-partisan analysts say the plan could add $4 trillion to the national debt over a decade, far more than the $1.4 trillion in deficit reduction the White House claims. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer slammed the bill as a giveaway to the rich that cuts health care and food aid for the poor to finance tax breaks for millionaires. And then there's the politics. With Republicans holding just 53 seats in the 100-member Senate, they can afford no more than 3 defections. As of Saturday afternoon, at least 3 GOP senators, Ron Johnson, Rand Paul, and Tom Tillis, have voiced reservations that put pressure on swing votes like Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins. The Senate hopes to pass a first procedural hurdle tonight. If successful, the bill moves to the debate stage. Final passage would then set it back to the House before Trump can sign it into law, possibly by the 4th of July. We're now joined by Ambassador Pradeep Kapoor, who's a former diplomat located in Washington, D.C. Ambassador Kapoor, thank you very much for joining us on the program. I first of all want to start at the bigger picture of this bill. If this bill does get to the final stage, which is very, very well possible, how could this affect the average American consumer, both positively and negatively?
Well, it has lots of provisions which are positive in the bill, and it's going to sort of increase the deficit, as you just mentioned, very significantly. The deficit in the US has been ballooning in very large numbers, and that was initially seen as very alarming by the Trump administration. And that's why you had heard all the promises about trying to control the deficit and bring it down and trying to create savings. But then somewhere along the line, I think they decided that they want the economy to grow faster, and one way of making it grow faster is to increase the spending on the economy. And that's why, earlier, a few years back, the trade deficit, the entire GDP deficit of US would increase by approximately less than $1 trillion in a year. Then it became $1.5 trillion, then it became 2 trillion. Now a bill like this is likely to add $4 trillion to the deficit. So a stage is going to come when they are no longer going to be in a position, the economy here, the treasury, the administration, to manage the deficit. So they will have to think of some solutions which will be long lasting. So I don't know what those solutions could be, because since 1971, when they delinked the dollar from the gold and the currencies from the gold, so the dollar became like the international reference, currency, and that has been going on since then. So now I think very soon we are going to come to a stage, maybe in the next couple of years, by the end of the Trump administration or by the beginning of the next administration, as to what is a long-term solution, because this sort of dragging along and increasing the spending and ballooning the trade deficit ballooning is not going to work. Trump initially tried hard also to bring in manufacturing back into the US. That was a very good initiative, because that will give a lot of inherent strengths, because deficit is primarily what are your assets, what are your resources, what are your strengths, what are your capacities. Now those capacities had been lost over time in terms of manufacturing moving out of US mostly to China, and a
Yes.
lot of consumerism increasing significantly. So inflation is not going to be easily controlled with this sort of bill. There will be some different features about some aspects of taxation. They will try to increase to cope with the massive increase in spending, but it is going to be a very difficult balancing task. So that's why a lot of people are opposed to the bill also, and some of the people are trying to push for the bill. So currently, with the political situation being what it is, with Trump controlling Trump's party, Republican Party, having majority in the Senate and in the Congress, the possibility of ultimately everybody agreeing to support the bill, not everybody, his party people, is currently there.
Ambassador Kapoor, some analysts and Democrats are calling this bill a giveaway to the rich. How can one interpret this bill as doing so of that? What are your thoughts?
The administration has in the past also had a track record of not punishing the rich or taxing the rich in any significant fashion. There were some attempts at some stage to increase the taxation levels for the rich, but whether that will happen at all is to be seen. So if that does not happen, the rich will again get richer, and the worry is that this bill should support the economy in terms of keeping it going, because the possibility of inflation increasing significantly is there. Now that can lead to a lot of depression in the market, and that can also lead to recession if it is not controlled. So I think he wants to complete his term by showing that the economy has done well, there has been some job creation, and the economy, there's some manufacturing, there's some jobs have come back to the US. So with that sort of impact in the people's mind, but of course, with all this spending, the rich will get richer, because they are the ones who control the levers of the economy and of the corporate sector. So it is going to impact them positively.
Ambassador Kapoor, you are staying with us. We have some more information in a related